The highly anticipated chapter 1044 of One Piece is set to blow all of our expectations out of the water, but with all of the recent developments within the story, it is easy to lose track of all of the theories and wild speculation that are floating out there. Is it true that Luffy is a reincarnation of Joy Boy? What is the truth behind Luffy's devil fruit? What on earth is all of this talk about Luffy awakening his powers and attaining Gear 5? The answer to these questions are arguably the most highly anticipated reveals within all of One Piece, especially when it comes to Luffy's devil fruit. We have wanted to know more about it since the beginning of the story, and in this video I'm going to be sharing some answers with all of you, and not some outlandish theories and pointless speculation. We will talk about the events that follow after Kaido appears to have defeated Luffy. We are going to discuss the connection between Luffy and Joy Boy, as well as the sun god Nika, while also covering the new information that we learn about Luffy's devil fruit, which will blow your mind. And to top all of this off, we'll discuss the awakening of the Gomu Gomu no Mi and how it is linked to Luffy's new form Gear 5. There is a lot to discuss and dive into, so you definitely want to stick around to the end of this video, where we will piece together all of these points as we dive into all of the latest developments within the One Piece manga. In chapter 1043, we saw that Kaido appeared to have killed Luffy, and he had then set his sights on Momonosuke, demanding that he surrenders, and thus bringing an end to the siege of Onigashima. Everyone appears to be utterly exhausted, while these Straw Hats are in complete disbelief that Luffy could have been beaten. Kaido aims to crash the floating Onigashima into the flower capital down below. The results will be catastrophic. The Emperor's main desire is to transform Wano country into the largest weapons factory, and he desires to use even women and children as his slaves. Yamato tries to convince Momonosuke that surrendering is not an option, and that it is better to fight to the death like a true samurai. He believes that because Luffy has lost, the only option that they have is to surrender to Kaido. But then Zunisha speaks to Momo, as it states that for the first time in 800 years it hears the drums of liberation, and it exclaims that Joy Boy has returned. And on the next panel, we see Luffy grinning with the top half of his head obscured with these blob-like strands. Could these blobs have appeared because of his rubber devil fruit? The situation in Wano has definitely taken a turn, and it appears as though Luffy is not down and out just yet. So what is the connection now between Joy Boy and Luffy, and how does it link to the sun god Nika? Let's dive into the answers that we get from One Piece chapter 1044. For the longest while, there have been fan theories that Luffy is becoming Joy Boy, and this appears to be confirmed following the words of Zunisha. Now, it may not be that Luffy is actually going to be possessed by Joy Boy, but rather that his devil fruit powers are now awakening. The conditions for said awakening may have been death, but we will dive more into Luffy's devil fruit in just a moment. For now, I want to talk about the connection between Luffy and Joy Boy. Is it true that Luffy is Joy Boy's reincarnation? We are aware that Joy Boy had played a key role within the Void Century, and he is an important figure in relation to the history of Fishman Island. Joy Boy is first mentioned in chapter 628 of the manga, as he is talked about in the Ryugu Poneglyph, which of course was read by Nico Robin. When Goldie Roger had learnt about the true history of the world on the last island of the New World, Laugh Tale, he had wished that he was born during the same time as Joy Boy. In chapter 972, Kozuki Oden had stated that he had expected Joy Boy to return 900 years after the last time that he was seen. It is speculated that Joy Boy may not be in reference to one person in particular, but rather to a title that can be earned to identify someone following in the footsteps of what it means to be Joy Boy. Very little is known about Joy Boy aside from the apology that he had written within the Poneglyph, where he expresses his regret that he wasn't able to keep his promise to the citizens of Fishman Island. In chapter 1040, Momonosuke claims that Joy Boy was a friend of Zunisha during the Void Century. We don't know the extent of their friendship aside from the fact that Zunisha is pleased that Joy Boy has returned at the end of chapter 1043. The oversized elephant had described Joy Boy as a liberator, appearing once again for the first time in 800 years. In chapter 649, we learn that the people of Fishman Island had made a promise with Joy Boy. The latter had promised to raise the Ship of Promise Noah, which is a large ship that is over half the size of Fishman Island, with the aid of Poseidon, a mermaid who is able to communicate and command large sea creatures known as Sea Kings. For whatever reason, Joy Boy was unable to keep his promise promise, and after forming a friendship with Zunisha, he would discover the final island of the New World, which had ended up being named Laugh Tale by the king of the pirates, Gol D. Roger. We know that Roger had left a treasure on the island known to all of us as One Piece. We are also made aware that Joy Boy would return one day, as he had left messages apologizing to Fishman Island, and that he had once again promised that he would return one day to keep his word in the future. In chapter 967, after the Roger pirates discover what Joy Boy had left behind on Laugh Tale, they find a message where he claims that he will return after 800 years. Apparently, Gol D. Roger and his crew arrived too early after they had learnt about Joy Boy's return and the true history of the world. This is a history that the world government is determined to hide and hopes will never see the light of day. In chapter 968, when Oden returned to Wano after adventuring with the Roger pirates, he states that Wano is also connected to Joy Boy's return, as he had planned to open Wano up to the world, preparing for Joy Boy's return. We know that Oden ultimately failed at this task as he was killed by Kaido, so he had left this task of opening up Wano country to his family. Thankfully, in chapter 1044, it appears that we have gotten some answers, as Luffy gets back up despite the fact that he was beaten to the point of death by Kaido. Momonosuke questions whether if the Joy Boy that Zunisha was referring to is in fact Luffy. Individuals like Sanji, Nami, Marco, Kid and Law are all shocked to see that Luffy is still alive and breathing. The return of his character is linked to the awakening of his devil fruit and the sun god Nika. Some have even gone as far as to say that Joy Boy and Nika are the same individual, and the last panel of chapter 1043 had Luffy say the word Nika, which once again brings up the topic of the legend of the sun god. The way that Nika is written, it can also mean to smile cheekily, but this is a clever choice of words by Oda, and I now want to talk about the legend of Nika and to try to understand how it links to Luffy and Joy Boy before we discuss the groundbreaking revelations that we get in chapter 1044. The sun god Nika is first mentioned within chapter 1018 of the manga. Visually, we only see a silhouette of a tall warrior wielding a sword in one hand and a spear in the other. This individual appears to have thin, stringy limbs with hair that is fashioned in the shape of flames. The legend of Nika refers to him as a savior who was known to be kind to slaves. The legend pertaining to him is that he would one day return to free the slaves from their oppressors and to bring a smile to their faces. The sun god Nika was worshipped by slaves who held onto the hope that they would be freed from slavery by this very god. It seems that the world government wants to suppress the knowledge of Nika and to punish those who know of the legend and share it around with others. The silhouette of sun god Nika appears to be strikingly similar to the silhouette of Luffy celebrating and dancing around a campfire after he had freed the citizens of Skypiea from Enel. We know that Luffy has taken down several oppressive leaders who had forced the people of their country into slavery or tyrannical regimes. Some examples are Arlong, Crocodile, Doflamingo, and of course Enel. He definitely has the traits of sun god Nika, as he gives freedom to the oppressed and leaves them smiling to the point of tears, like when he had left Arabasta and Vivi couldn't hold back her tears of joy after having her country freed, as well as after being able to sail with the Straw Hats for a brief period of time. The five elders are seen in chapter 1037 speaking after the reverie, as they discuss the events unfolding within Wano. They of course express their desire for Nico Robin to be killed or to be captured, and that this matter is of great urgency. They are concerned in particular about a certain devil fruit which has not been awakened in centuries, and that the existence of this devil fruit was regarded as a legend to them. But despite this, the world government went through the effort to give the devil fruit a fake name in order to hide its existence from the records of history. We learn more about this devil fruit in chapter 1044, where the five elders are once again speaking about this mysterious devil fruit. They state that in every era, the world government has tried to keep the Gomu Gomu no Mi in their possession, but somehow this devil fruit has always evaded their grasp. It is like the devil fruit has a will of its own, and that it is trying to escape from them. The elders then reveal a shocking truth about Luffy's devil fruit, as they state that it is a Zoan type fruit. This is strange because we had always thought that it was a Paramecia type this entire time. They also reveal that the other name for the Gomu Gomu no Mi is the Hito Hito no Mi, which translates to the human fruit, and its subtitle is the mythical Zoan model Nika, meaning that it can transform the user into the sun god Nika. It is confirmed that the reason why Luffy and Nika have an identical silhouette is because he can take up the form of Nika thanks to the awakening of his devil fruit. The five elders continue by explaining understanding that the body of the user of the Gomu Gomu no Mi has properties of rubber. It is for this reason that the user is able to fight in whatever way he chooses, and he can make people smile no matter where he goes, and he is referred to as a warrior of liberation, known by slaves and captives across the world as Nika. When the Gomu Gomu no Mi is awakened, it will give the user's rubber body more strength and freedom. The five elders exclaim that this devil fruit possesses the most ridiculous power in the world. After we learn the truth about Luffy's devil fruit, we cut back to the roof of Onigashima, where we see the symbolic silhouette of Luffy against the backdrop of the full moon. Luffy states that he feels as if he can do anything that he wants, which is of course tied to the awakening of his devil fruit, when the rubber body gains more freedom and strength as the five elders had described. Luffy then states that he has reached the peak of his power, exclaiming that he has obtained Gear 5th. Kaido of course reacts after a huge wave of Color of the Supreme King Haki crashes down from above, as multiple streaks of black lightning break through the roof as Kaido's underlings fall unconscious. Understandably, Kaido looks back at the roof concerned, wondering what on earth is going on up there. He is unaware that Luffy has returned to end their battle and to fulfill the legend of Nika. Luffy ends up grabbing Kaido as he brings him back to the rooftop, as his muscle mass appears to have increased in size, as he then spins Kaido around violently, slamming the Yonko onto the ground repeatedly. Luffy laughs continuously in response to Kaido's shocked questioning, and during the end of chapter 1044 we see Luffy demonstrate that he can manipulate the properties of the ground as he turns it into rubber, and Luffy is also able to manipulate his muscle mass, as he can change from a normal form and a muscular form in Gear 5. His hair has now taken the shape of flames, with clouds of vapor around his neck and under his arms, which is similar to his appearance in Gear 4. His eyebrows are also curled and the pupil of his eyes have changed. Luffy laughs non-stop as we finally get to see Gear 5 revealed to us, and Kaido ends up apologizing to Luffy for allowing CP0 to intervene during their battle and for him to have defeated Luffy while he was distracted. Luffy forgives him as their battle appears to be heading for the climax. Now, chapter 1044 not only revealed to us the truth about Luffy's devil fruit, but we finally learned about how it is tied to the legend of the sun god Nika and the individual known as Joy Boy. As the five elders stated, in every era the Gomu Gomu no Mi has evaded them, and the last time that it must have escaped their grasp was over 900 years ago with the arrival of Joy Boy. So we can speculate that the individual who eats the Gomu Gomu no Mi is in fact the inheritor of the title of Joy Boy, and they are able to call upon the powers of the sun god Nika. Now this is all fascinating information that really makes me super excited for the next chapter of One Piece, and we are at the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What did you think about all of these fascinating revelations, and did you see any of this coming? And as for this video, I genuinely love One Piece and I've followed the story weekly since 2009. I've always wanted to speak about the series, but was aware of the passionate fan base and the wealth of knowledge that they have, including the absolute insane efforts that they go into when it comes to the theories and speculation surrounding Oda's work. Admittedly, it was a little daunting to make this video, despite being a longtime fan of the series myself. So if you enjoyed listening to me speaking about the current developments within One Piece and you want to see more, then definitely let me know in the comments. I certainly enjoyed making this video and it was a refreshing change of pace from the usual content that I post. And if you enjoyed it too, then continue the discussion in the comments. I want to know all of your thoughts about chapter 1044, as well as the link between Luffy, Joy Boy and the sun god Nika. Once again, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. If you enjoy my content, then you can support my channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or even through YouTube by becoming a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive channel perks and a Discord server which I frequently use. So become a member of my Zero Division and be the first to know about my upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.